Hey gang, Mocha Boy here, welcome back. So we are going to take a look at just a few more farming replays today. These are all AQ healer based attacks. I did see that folks are interested in seeing some giant based attacks. Those are definitely coming. For right now we're focusing on the high level attacks, and then we'll move through all the different permutations and combinations of attack loadouts, depending on what you're looking at. But we are going to be looking at one DE dive, and then just a bunch of beatdowns on TH9 bases up in Master. So just kick back, relax, and enjoy the commentary. Right, so the next replay we're going to be looking at, this is coming in from TheCornDogLover. He's running more of a standard Super Queen loadout. Now, Super Queen comes in a couple of different flavors. If you're hunting for Elixir, then say you would use minions, but if you're hunting for Dark Elixir, then you would use archers, and they're primarily used just to help with the funneling. And in this particular case, they're dumping in over in the top right-hand corner just to see if they can get at those pumps, but it's a little too much with those air defenses along with the wizards. But one poison down there takes care of them, no problem. But as far as the rest of the base is concerned, now this is one of the challenges with running Super Queen against bases with air defenses that far in. Typically speaking, it's okay to break in using your wall breakers through that first layer, but don't break into through the second layer. That way the AQ can continue to just walk through. But I definitely would have busted open up that corner compartment so she could have taken out that air defense and possibly even one DE pump. Instead, he's chosen to go in down around the Lower East Side, and then he'll be dumping out a CC in to take just to take a little bit of pressure off of her so that she can continue her march into the core. Now these bases are interesting with the offset THs. You never want to attack them head-on because they're always reinforced head-on, and unless you go in with a lot of DPS at the outset, you're going to run into a lot of problems. But in this particular case, he decided this is definitely the correct way to attack these bases, where you come in from where you come in from literally behind the base and then walk around to the side, and then dump in through the side, so that you take on the base's defenses, a little bit at a time rather than all at once. Now the AQ does succeed in getting to the DE storage as well as the town hall, but unfortunately he did miss out on the pumps, so he missed out on a pretty big deal's worth of Dark Elixir. But he is up in Masters, so he's rocking a pretty good leak bonus, especially with the damage that he's incurring on the base. So, definitely one consideration here. Again, Super Queen takes a lot of different forms. You can use minions for funneling. You can use archers for funneling. In this particular case, he used a lot of different a lot of different tactics to get her to move into the core of the base, but he was successful in getting that DE storage and the town hall. Right, so next attack we're going to take a look at, again, this is coming in from Mcownu, who's smashing his way through champs. He dropped this into chat and he said, these attacks are an exercise in patience. Before we look at this, again, one of the most important skills that you'll need to develop is your base assessment skills. Where are the defense lines into the core of the base? Where are the double giant bombs? Once you've assessed all of that, coming up with a plan inside of 30 seconds to either disable those bombs or figure out your pathing so that you have a clean shot into the core. Now with these attacks, one of the things that he does and does a really good job of is stripping the outer layer of its defenses. Now against 4 healers, 3-point defenses is a lot, and you do have a choice when you're going up against 3 defenses. Personally, I like to rage my healers into the AQ to keep her up, but and then to save the phase for either the defending heroes or when the CC comes out. You'll get a feel for what to use when and where. Again, my personal favorite is raging the healers first and then saving that phase until you absolutely need it. Once that outer layer of defenses is down, he starts his punch into the core. And notice the way that he dropped that one golem and then a couple of funneling wizards on the side to ensure that everything flows into the core. And if you see what he's doing here, he's sending in his tanks in through that north entryway to trip the quad Teslas and more likely the double giant bombs in the core of the base. Once he's got a clean path into the core for those wall breakers, he just sets off his tanks, and they'll go in and disable all those bombs, or at least all the ones that matter, and leaving the rest of the base open for attack. Now mind you, he's already at 40% damage here, and he hasn't even released any of his hogs. So that's better than we're almost talking about half the base at this point, and he hasn't even dropped any of his hogs. And again, low AQ here, low defending AQ, but what we are trying to do is find targets that that fit that fit the criteria of what to attack. Now this high up, you have you are working with a gigantic league bonus, so it can offset a lot of the expenditures that you have. And he's been doing this. He's been doing this pretty much nonstop for his entire run, and will probably end up making it to Titans before long, especially with the new matchmaking changes. So again, as the Queen's starting to make it into the core, she goes in to target the enemy AQ, and then the Hogs go to work. There's only about 12 Hogs down, but we're only looking at about 5 defenses left, and he still has one more heal. This is just one incredible way to smash a base. Okay, lost one hog over there, which is fantastic because the rest of the hogs are still up, and they're just going to go and strip the base of the rest of its resources. And then that's what are we looking at here? 215k plus the bonus, and then all of that dark elixir to offset the cost of that army. So he's able to smash that base for 100% and the win. Alright, so we're going to take a look at one more example. This is a Super Queen from one of our newer members, as 321. He is actually not one of the guys who's gone through one of the Red Force academies, but he has the backing of everyone here that has gone through it, and he's watched how the attacks have worked, and he was actually able to do a couple of Super Queen attacks himself. Now, Super Queen's an interesting strategy. There's a lot of different ways to approach it. You can use minions instead of archers, but if you're farming exclusively for Dark Elixir, you want to try to keep away from Dark Elixir troops as much as possible. That 300 Dark Elixir, it adds up over the course of many hundreds of raids. And in this case, he chooses to go with 96 archers. Now we do know that at this point, 8 healers is not the way to go with these attacks, because after about 6 healers, I think that the 6th healer is only 10% effective. I don't know, but I mean, whatever. We're still trying to work out the operational ranges for a lot of these attacks. He dumped all 8 healers on his AQ, and he used his 96 archers to cut a pretty good funnel. He's using his wall breakers to ensure that the Queen has a path into the core. You want to make sure that you try to take out that town hall as well to get the extra bit of loot that's in there. And I mean, it really, in this particular case, or in any of these cases, it's all about picking a jump point into the core of the base and making sure that you use your cannon fodder to cut those edges to ensure that she jumps into the core, and then obviously deploying your jump at the right time. For these attacks, the one thing that I would like to see people doing more often is raging the healers into the AQ. If the AQ ever gets in trouble, either from a defending barbarian king or one too many defenses, you don't necessarily have to use. You don't necessarily have to phase her. You can rage the healers, and they will heal her back up to full, while simultaneously giving her a bump in attack, and then she'll be able to carve out, survive whatever that DPS heavy corner is. So these are these are fun attacks. I still do these. They're a little bit trickier with Infernos, but at Town Hall 9, if you're looking for a pretty reliable, not so elixir heavy attack strategy, this is definitely one of the ones to consider, and that's a Super Queen coming in from Az, and then the rest of this is just going into cleanup mode, to take out the rest of the base. So he did a pretty good job there and was able to walk away with just a little bit extra loot. So great job there. And let's see, he's up in Champs 3, hit somebody in Masters 1 for this attack. So great job there, Az. So one more replay from Mcownu. This is an interesting base. These are tricky. I've actually seen bases similar to this up in Titans. So it's TH10, TH11 design. These spots open here. You're definitely looking at quad Teslas in the core. It's an open base. Now, open bases are tricky because if you don't cut them the wrong way, then everything just goes for a walk around the core, while the Expos pick away at you happily as you go ring around the rosy around the base. And the awesome thing about AQ healer, or rather AQ walks, is that again you can strip an entire wall of the base of not only its trash buildings but all of its defenses. And if they're not overlapping each other, if you don't have at least 3-point defenses overlapping in one hot zone, to force an AQ to either burn their ability or burn a rage, you're going to run into trouble. But there's very little that you can do to stop these attacks, especially if you have a competent attacker hitting your base and they know what to look for. So he's chosen this side. He's chosen to walk south and then punch into the core to grab the AQ. That's always a smart move, to start the furthest away from the AQ, but then walk towards the AQ so that your AQ can meet up with your kill team to take both her out, as well as any bombs or anything else that's in the core. Pretty standard fare here, nothing too crazy. He's got one jump into the core along with a healer-backed AQ, and then here come the hogs. Flanking the AQ. Now this is one of those things that you just pick up as you do this more and more, because one of the questions you're always asking is, do you send them on the left? Do you send them on the right? Do you send them on the flanks? Do you send them from the opposite side of the base? Generally speaking, you want to try to do whatever you can to relieve any kind of DPS pressure coming in off of the AQ, to the exclusion of everything else. So long as you can put down as many of the base defenses as possible, you still have that healer-backed AQ to go into cleanup mode. And he's still got hogs up with one rage left and one poison. We'll probably end up dropping that poison on the skeletons if he sees them, but I'm not even sure if he sees them because there's always so much going on in these attacks. But actually, didn't even need it. Punches through those skeletons, goes into cleanup mode, and then smashes this base for what looks like about 100k, and then some ancillary DE there, nothing too crazy. But again, you're really going for the league bonuses here, and if you're going to smash these bases, you want to make sure that you get the full bonus. And the only way you can do that is to get whatever the percentage is, over 70 or 80%. So, great job there, Mcownu.